Welcome back, Seven Rivers Racing on KQEG-TV. Want to remind you that if you missed the program, which now runs Thursday all the way through the weekend, you can find us on YouTube at youtube.com/Seven Rivers Racing. My Facebook page is also Radio Man Dan /Seven Rivers Racing. I not only keep you up to date on what's going on in the show and the guests we have coming up, but we let you know what's going on throughout the entire state of Wisconsin pretty much. When we have a driver racing at Golden Sands or down in Madison, you're going to find out about it. And a lot of buy, sell, and trade I've incorporated on the website this year.
Noticed that
as well. Do want to welcome Cousin Subs, especially when they're toasted and there's a lot of pepperoni and cheese on there. Cousin Subs, one of the new sponsors of Seven Rivers Racing. So if you watch the show before or after, make sure you head down to your local Cousin Subs and get some of their toasty subs, and let me know how they were, because I'm going to be heading out there probably as soon as the show's done taping today. Mississippi Thunder Speedway, by the way, their season opener is coming up on the 27th of April, a $4,000 to win USMTS season opener. They are expecting between 180 and 170 to 180 cars on opening night. Make sure you head on up there. The racing's getting underway at 7:30. Ironman USRAB mods, which are the street stocks, and MTS pure stocks will be there as well. And to quash a rumor that is going around, no, I am not done announcing at Crosse Speedway this year. I will be there for my 7th season, thanks to Chuck and Dave bringing me back again. But I'm also going to be announcing with Dan Bailey at Mississippi Thunder on Friday nights this year. So I won't miss a single race at La Crosse.
And the occasional go-karts on Sunday, if your schedule allows.
Yes, I'm going to try to tuck some go-karts in there as well, and I'll also be doing the street drags on opening night next Saturday, and then also the Fall Classic in October.
You need an assistant to keep track of your...
I need an assistant and a new set of vocal cords as well.
Yes.
Our guest in the program today is going to be trying to get a full season in at the La Crosse Fairgrounds Speedway. Drives the number 38, silver and green, Quick Trip NASCAR late model, Travis Christenson. What's going on, buddy?
Hey, Travis.
Very much.
Good to finally have you into the program, and it's got to be exciting to understand that you are looking at a full season this year.
I am indeed. As long as we get all this work done on the race car, we hopefully will be out there next Saturday to practice, and then hopefully be there opening night.
Now, how long have you been, I mean, let's talk about racing in general. I mean, how long have you been behind the wheel of anything that involves racing?
Right after I graduated high school in 1998, I took all that money I got from my family and friends, and I bought a go-kart from my cousin. Started racing down at the dirt track down in Mormon Coulee. It progressed into Westby and La Crosse, and multiple championships later, here we are starting to race late models.
Now, Westby's been closed, what,
3 or 4 years ago.
Okay, because it was right after I moved to the area that I think that both Arcadia and Westby had closed.
Yep.
Do you see that a lot of the drivers you raced with at Westby are at La Crosse now?
More or less, a lot of them that were at La Crosse, down at the dirt track and the little go-kart track that's right outside the big track, like Matt Henderson, Steve Bachman, a lot of them guys, all the younger kids I see growing up now, they're starting to get into it and kicking my butt so far.
Now, when you made the adjustment from go-karts, and I think the only other driver that has made that kind of an adjustment would have been Michael Sauter, running go-karts, I think 3 seasons ago, then took a season off, and then ran last year at the La Crosse Speedway.
And Matt Henderson.
Matt Henderson, yep.
Yeah. Well, just recently-wise, because Matt's been running at La Crosse for quite a while now.
About 4 years.
Yeah, Sauter would have been last year running his full season in a late model, going straight from a very outstanding championship run at the go-karts. What's been the biggest adjustment for you running from a go-kart open wheel to a La Crosse late model?
Shocks and springs, I'll tell you that right now. That's the hardest thing. The motor, motor is, I mean, I think it's just amazing what it's happened to the shocks and springs since I helped Johnny and Kenny, my cousins, race late models, 10 years ago, to now. It's just incredible, the changes that have been made in the late models. I took about 2-3 years off from pit crewing, and then it's like the sport passed me by or something.
Yeah, and that brings up a really interesting topic that you and I had touched on briefly last year during one of our episodes, was the fact that when you are racing and then you take time off to become a part of a pit crew, you're starting to learn a whole lot more on what is making that car tick, no matter what series you're racing in. And obviously that had to have been a major advantage from you hopping behind the wheel of a late model, because now you know how to drive and what's making it tick at the same time.
Yep. I mean, first off, every piece of equipment that's ever been given to me has been given to me by my dad, and I would have never won a go-kart race. I'd never have this opportunity without my dad. So I want to get that out of the way first of all.
Sure.
And I mean,
and it's funny because when I was at your smoker here about a month or so ago, the first person I recognized wasn't you or your wife April. It was your dad, because I have seen him at the track for years on end now.
Yep. He's that clutch of just sitting there. I mean, everybody knows Bob. Bob is the tech guy at the go-kart track. You can't get nothing by him. He'll tell you how it is.
Right.
You know, he's Bob.
Which is good. I mean, especially when you're looking at the go-kart track, you're looking at some of the younger drivers. You may as well get them used to right now of these are the rules and this is what you have to follow.
And he sits down and he explains it to the kids. You know, I mean, he'll tell you, you know, this is how you got to drive your go-kart going into the corners. You know, sometimes their dads just want to see him go out there and win and all that stuff, and sometimes the kid's got to realize he can't get to the front in the first lap.
Right.
He's got to sit back and watch, and them kids in front of him. My dad will always tell you, that kid in front of you is going to make a mistake if you're right on him, always pressuring him. That was the first thing he always taught me.
And we should mention, too, that every Friday night, Travis here also is an inspector out at the go-kart track.
Yeah, I've seen him out there, well, 4 or 5 years I was announcing out there as well. And it's nice to see that. I've talked to a lot of people that when I mentioned go-kart racing in La Crosse, like, well, where's that track at? Well, how can you miss that? It's in between the big grandstand and the pit road. But some folks from out of the area didn't know that this area is so rich in go-kart racing and has been for quite a while. And, of course, you've been very instrumental out there.
You know, I won about 10 championships out there. I had a really good go-kart career. My dad built all my motors. He set up everything. I just pretty much got in the cart and drove it.
So I know how the transformation of driver A jumping into a different series or a different class, and how that car can get recycled through about 9 or 10 drivers in about 6 or 7 years. So who has your go-kart now?
I don't even know. It went through so many people. Everybody wanted it because it was a winning chassis.
Sure.
So, and I kind of lost track of it after a while.
And that's funny if you look on Craigslist or some areas like that where people are selling go-karts to race cars.
Yes.
That's one of the big things that they put in capital letters, and it's always bold. Track winning car in 09, 010, or, you know, fastest car, whatever racetrack it is. And it's a good selling point. I mean, it's obviously the car is not simply going to be what's going to get you into the winner's circle in the championship, but it's nice to know you've got some winning wheels behind you as well.
Oh, yeah. Yep. We raced F200s. It was like a caged kart, go-kart. We got to do that on the Milwaukee Mile.
Oh, really?
Very nice.
And it was like racing on Talladega for go-karts. I mean, we were drafting, doing about 100 miles an hour in go-karts, 2-3 inches off the ground.
A number of you from this area went and did that, because I think we picked up one of those carts too for
I mean, it was nuts.
That's just got to be a rush. I mean, especially like the Milwaukee Mile. That's just got to be a plain and simple rush.
It was crazy. The first time you got out there and you were going and you just got in the draft, and your motor went up about 2,000 RPMs just by getting pushed like that. It's kind of scary.
And it's a long way in that straightaway, and then when you hit that corner, it's a little bit different, isn't it?
Yeah. It was crazy.
Well, going from the go-kart track at the Cooley Go-Kart Raceway, right outside of La Crosse Speedway, to the La Crosse Speedway itself. When we come back after this break, we're going to talk more about Travis. He's a family man, and we know in talking with a lot of drivers over the past couple of years, having a family and having kids and those that are building houses is, you know, that's a lot to do when you're wanting to go out there and race full time. And Travis, with the great support of his family and some great sponsors, is going to come out and try to make that happen this year. We'll talk more with Travis after this break on Seven Rivers Racing here on KQEG TV.